Let me ask you something honest. How long have you been waiting for the right time to start that business? Waiting until you lose a little more weight before you take that photo? Waiting until you feel more ready, more confident, more prepared before you go after the life you keep telling yourself you want? Maybe you've been waiting for months, years. Maybe you've been waiting so long you've almost convinced yourself that it's wisdom, that you're just being responsible, just being realistic, just playing it safe. But here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The right moment is never coming. It doesn't exist. It never did. And the longer you wait for it, the more of your life slips by while you're standing still. This is the channel where we talk about the things that actually change lives. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most dangerous lies your mind tells you, and we're going to break it apart completely. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, the way you think about time, readiness, and action will never be the same. Think about how we grow up. We're taught to prepare. Study first, then get the job. Save first, then spend. Practice first, then perform. And on the surface, that makes sense. Preparation matters. But somewhere along the way, a healthy habit of preparation quietly turns into something else. Turns into avoidance. It turns into fear wearing the costume of wisdom. We tell ourselves we're being strategic. We say things like, "I'm just not ready yet," or "the timing isn't right," or "let me just wait until things settle down." But when exactly does life settle down? When does the timing become perfect? The answer is never, because there will always be something. There will always be a reason to wait. A bill that hasn't been paid. A relationship that isn't stable. A skill you haven't mastered. A fear you haven't faced. Life is not a waiting room where conditions will eventually align and someone will call your number. Life is a river, it keeps moving whether you get in or not. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you wait for the right moment. Your brain is wired for survival. It hates uncertainty. And starting something new is packed with uncertainty. So your brain, trying to protect you, creates the illusion that more preparation will reduce the risk. Psychologists call this analysis paralysis. The more you think about starting, the more potential problems you identify. And the more problems you identify, the more reasons you have to wait. It becomes a cycle, and the longer you stay in it, the harder it is to break out. There's also something called temporal discounting, which is our tendency to value the present moment more than the future. The discomfort of starting something today feels very real. The benefit of having started feels distant and uncertain. So we discount it. We push it away. And none of this is a character flaw. It's human nature. But knowing why it happens doesn't mean we have to be controlled by it. I want you to think about someone you admire. Someone who built something remarkable. Do you think they felt ready when they started? Almost certainly not. Because readiness is not a feeling you wait for. Readiness is something you build through action. Every great author who ever published a book felt like it wasn't good enough yet. Every entrepreneur who built a company felt like they didn't know enough yet. Every person who fell in love took a risk without a guarantee. Readiness is a myth we tell ourselves to justify standing still. Now I want to talk about something that doesn't get said enough. And that's the real price you pay for waiting. We think of waiting as neutral, like pressing pause on a video, like nothing is happening while you wait. But waiting is never neutral. Waiting always has a cost. And that cost is paid in time, the one thing you can never get back. Let me tell you about two brothers. I'll call them John and Marcus. They grew up in the same house, same parents, same opportunities. At 25, both of them had a dream of starting a business. An online clothing store that celebrated African fashion. John said, "I'm going to start now. I don't have much money. I don't have much experience. But I'm going to start and figure it out as I go." Marcus said, "I'm going to wait. I need to save more money first. I need to learn more about business and then find the right time." John launched his store that year. His first designs weren't perfect. His website was basic. His first few months were slow. But he kept going. He learned from every mistake. He listened to his customers. He improved. By the time he was 30, he had a thriving business. He was employing 3 other people. He was selling to customers across the world. And Marcus? 30, he was still waiting. He had more savings now. He knew more about business. But he also had a wife, a new baby, more responsibilities, more to lose. And so the right moment kept moving forward, always just out of reach. At 35, he looked at his brother's business and felt something he didn't expect. He felt grief because he finally understood what he had lost. Not just time, but the version of himself that could have existed if he had just started. That is the true cost of waiting. It's not just the years you lose, it's the person you never become. In economics, there's a concept called opportunity cost. It means that every choice you make comes with a hidden cost, the cost of the thing you didn't choose. Every year you spend waiting to start your business is a year of experience you don't gain. Time is the only truly non-renewable resource. Money can be earned back. Relationships can be rebuilt. Skills can be learned. But time, once it's gone, it never comes back. Here's something that stopped me cold when I first read it. Researchers studied elderly people in the final stages of their lives and asked them one simple question. What do you regret most? The most common answer was not the things they had done. It was the things they hadn't done, the risks they hadn't taken, the dreams they hadn't pursued, the words they hadn't said. They didn't regret trying and failing. They regretted never trying at all. Think about that. When you're at the end of your life, looking back, will you regret that you started too soon? Or will you regret that you waited too long? Now let me show you what's possible on the other side of fear. Let me show you what happens when people stop waiting and choose to begin. Her name is Harriet Dorr. She enrolled in a university creative writing program at the age of 65, after her children were grown, after she had lived what most people would call a full life already. She didn't wait for a time when she was younger, more energetic, more connected in the publishing world. She wrote, slowly, steadily, without apology for being late. Her debut novel was published when she was 73 years old. It won the American Book Award. It became a bestseller. Harriet Dorr didn't have the right moment. She had the right decision. In 2008, a man named Howard lost his job, his savings, and nearly his marriage in the same year. The financial crisis had wiped out the company he worked for. At 42, he was starting over with nothing. For 6 months, he waited for the economy to stabilize. He waited for a company to hire him back. He waited for something to change. Then one day, his daughter asked him why he looked so sad all the time. That question broke something open in him. He stopped waiting for the economy. He started a small consulting firm from his kitchen table, using the only thing he had left, 20 years of expertise in his field. His first client was a neighbor. His second was a referral from that neighbor. By year 3, he had a team of 8 people and more business than he could handle. The rock bottom he had been dreading? It turned out to be the foundation he needed. Jerry was a 21-year-old student when she had an idea for a platform that helped small businesses with their social media content. She didn't have a degree in technology. She didn't have investors. She didn't have a perfect product. But she had a laptop, a Wi-Fi connection, and a willingness to figure it out. She launched a basic version of her service while she was still in school. Her first clients were other students running small side businesses. By graduation, she had over 30 clients. She never needed to look for a job. She had built one for herself. She started before she was ready. And that's exactly why she succeeded. None of these people waited for the right moment. None of them had perfect conditions. None of them felt ready. But all of them made one powerful decision: they chose to begin anyway. And that decision changed everything. So now we've talked about why we wait. We've felt the cost of waiting. We've seen what's possible when we don't. Now it's time for the most important part. What do you actually do? Here are 6 things you can start doing right now. 1. Name the moment you're waiting for. Most people are waiting for something vague. The right time, when things settle down, when I feel ready. These aren't real conditions. They're emotional states that will never permanently arrive. So write it down. Take a piece of paper and write, I am waiting for blank. Fill it in honestly. When you name the thing, you can examine it. And most of the time, when you really look at what you're waiting for, you'll realize it's not a real requirement. It's a story you've been telling yourself. 2. Define the smallest possible start. One reason we wait is that we imagine starting means doing everything at once. But starting doesn't mean doing everything. Starting means doing one thing. What is the absolute smallest version of your dream you can execute today? Did you want to start a YouTube channel? Film one video on your phone right now. Want to start a business? Send an email to one potential customer today. Want to write a book? Write one paragraph. Right now, before this video ends. 3. Set a non-negotiable deadline. Most people don't have a starting date. They have a vague intention. And intentions without deadlines are just wishes. So give yourself a deadline. A real one. Not "I'll start soon." Say, by Friday at 6 p.m., I will have done the following one thing. Write it in your calendar. Tell someone. Make it real. 4. Make peace with imperfection. Your first attempt will not be your best work. And that is perfectly fine. Every master was once a beginner. Every great product started as a rough draft. Every successful business had a terrible first day. The only way to get to the good version is to go through the bad version first. Perfectionism is just fear with better vocabulary. Done is better than perfect. Always. 5. Redefine what failure means. We wait because we're afraid to fail. But here's a question. What if you redefined failure? When you try and it doesn't work, you gain something: experience, clarity, wisdom, resilience. You learn what doesn't work, which gets you closer to what does. When you never try, you gain nothing. You just get older with the same dream still unrealized. Trying and failing is not failure. Never trying is the only real failure. 6. Build an environment that supports action. You cannot think your way into a new behavior if everything around you is designed to keep you comfortable and still. Find people who are already doing what you want to do. Join communities of people who are building, creating, risking. Read stories of people who started before they were ready. Fill your mind with evidence that starting is possible. Because the environment you're in will either push you forward or pull you back. And you get to choose which environment you live in. I want to close by talking to you directly. Not the you that's watching a video. The real you. The one who has a dream that's been sitting in the back of your mind, quiet and patient and hopeful. That dream has been waiting for you longer than you've been waiting for the right moment. And here's what I need you to hear today. You are not too late. You are not too old. You are not too inexperienced. You are not in the wrong circumstances. You are exactly where you need to be, which is at the beginning. Every single person you look up to, every person whose life you admire, started somewhere. Started with less than they wanted. Started in conditions that weren't perfect. Started before they felt ready. And they started anyway, because they understood something that I want you to understand today. The right moment is the moment you decide it is. It's not out there somewhere in the future. It's not behind some wall of perfect preparation. It's not waiting for your fears to disappear or your doubts to go quiet. The right moment is right now. This moment, the one you're in. And yes, it's going to be messy. It's going to be uncertain. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to have days where you wonder if it's worth it. But you're also going to grow. You're going to discover things about yourself that you never knew. You're going to build something real, something that didn't exist before you decided to begin. And one day, you're going to look back at this moment, this exact moment where you made a decision, and you're going to be so grateful that you stopped waiting. Because the life you want, it's on the other side of the action you keep postponing. So stop waiting. Start now. Start imperfectly. Start scared. Start small. But start. That's the mind shift for today. If this video hit something inside you, if something I said made you think differently about where you are and where you want to go, I need you to do one thing right now. Not tomorrow. Now, write in the comments below, what is the one thing you've been waiting to start? Just write it. Put it in the comments. Make it real. Because something powerful happens when you say it out loud. And if you got value from this video, please share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Someone who's been waiting. Someone whose dream deserves a chance. Subscribe to Mindshift Stories if you haven't already. because every week we come back here with stories and truths that are designed to shift the way you see your life. And remember, the right moment is already here. The only question is whether you're going to take it. I'll see you in the next one.